Welcome to another episode of Heroic Hotline. We are extremely blessed to be joined today by Jim Stanley, the Executive Director for the Catholic Men's Central Fellowship from Waco, Texas. No, you're not Waco, you're Austin.
Right,
But it's the Austin Diocese that incorporates Waco, right?
right, right. And
Okay.
it's the Central Texas Fellowship of Catholic Men. It's a mouthful. It took me about a year to be able to say that correctly. So you did okay for one of your first times saying it.
And I've got one of the shirts, but
Ah,
they were supposed to send me one of these, and they sent one of those by mistake. So, uh, yeah. So, what I thought we'd talk about, Jim, is as you know, Heroic Men is trying to grow ministry to men across North America. And what you guys are doing in the Diocese of Austin is probably one of the best models there is out there of what's happening within a diocese, because you're extremely well organized. Unfortunately, I don't think I can show your chart on the screen. Let me just try quick. I tried to upload it, as I said, and it didn't seem to want to work. Let's see what I got. I've got the map of Austin. Let's see if this comes up. There you go.
there it is.
So people can see what the diocese itself looks like. And is each one of those dots, Jim, uh are they a deanery?
Yes. So each one
Okay.
of those dots is a deanery, and the listing of the deaneries is on the left hand side.
Okay.
There's a total of 11 deaneries in the Austin diocese, and as you can see, they're geographically located. So
Yeah, and so you're the executive director for this organization. So what we would say is a diocesan leader in our language. Uh how does it work? So we saw the map with the deaneries. How many parishes are in the diocese?
there's uh, uh, let's see, there are 107 parishes
Wow.
with a permanent pastor, and then there's 20 mission churches in addition to that. So a total
Wow.
of 127.
That must keep you busy.
Yeah. Well, and if I was the only one that that was trying to grow ministry to men in the diocese, I'd be pretty stressed out. But there was a really good organizational structure that Robert Tunmeyer and Bill Moyer put together a long time ago, and it kind of follows along a corporate structure. So there's a president of the Central Texas Fellowship, a vice president, there's a treasurer, there is a um, marketing coordinator, there's an event planner, there's a development director, and his basic job is to get donations and fundraising, um, and so the workload is spread out, and so everybody contributes to growing the number of parishes that have a dynamic men's group in in the whole organization. So
So how long did it take you to grow the dynamic? Well, how many do you know how many dynamic men's groups you have going in your diocese right now?
yes, right now we've got 46
Wow.
active dynamic men's groups. Um, we have uh, and we have a few. We have about four that are considering starting in the next year or so. Um, and we have about 17 in addition to that where we have a contact but don't have much traction moving forward, and then the rest of them are inactive.
So let's say what do you do when you have that contact in a parish? Like what what's a method that you would recommend for men to move the needle to get a dynamic men's group going in their parish?
Yeah, the way that we have this structured is that we have at least one deanery lead for every deanery. And that deanery lead is responsible for keeping the groups that have dynamic men's groups vibrant, helping them select new program material, uh, and helping them grow with different materials and resources that we have, and starting new ones. And so each deanery lead, in addition to the parishes that already have dynamic men's groups, each deanery lead selects what we call a focus parish, one where he thinks he has the best chance of getting a new dynamic men's group started. And I was in sales and marketing for a long time, and we call that low hanging fruit, right? So a parish where he either knows the pastor, knows the deacon or the deacons, or knows some parishioners that go to that particular parish that have an interest in starting a dynamic men's group there. And so um, the best way to get some traction started is by finding a parishioner that goes to that particular parish that has an interest in starting a men's group, and then helping that parishioner find 4 or 5 other guys who are interested in joining him on a leadership team, and then having them approach the pastor to get permission to do it. And then from there, we have a very good training program that the CMLA just put together to help that group work towards a successful launch. So that's really the best way. And the way that you find those people are often a men's conference. At our men's conferences, we always put aside about 20 minutes for men to go out to the tables that we have outside of the parish and sign up to either join an existing men's group or to start a new one. And the deanery leads use that to find leads to be able to say, "Hey, you signed up at the men's conference. Either we did have a chance to talk to you, or we didn't have a chance to talk to you. I'm just following up to find out how we can help you get it going in your parish."
And just out of interest, like, because I've been mulling this around, within the deanery, is it helpful to invite men from other parishes to come to your men's group so that they can see how they're running, and that it isn't rocket science, as it were, that anyone can really do this?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's a parish in my deanery. I'm also a deanery lead. Uh, that we did exactly that. I invited them to our men's group that we call Man Up, and several of them attended, got a feel for how we organized it and how we did it. So then, when I helped them get it started, they knew how a meeting was organized and the type of material, and and the fact that you split up into small groups and have discussion questions after the video, um, and all those kind of things. So that's really helpful for somebody to get a feel for what it's actually like to sit in with another parish or a couple of different parishes to see how different parishes run their dynamic men's groups. And
So you talked about these small groups. What's the size of a small group to you?
typical size of a small group is anywhere from 6 to 8 guys at a table.
Okay.
And then there's a table facilitator for each of the tables. And his job is basically keep the conversation going. Don't dominate the conversation, but be a spark to get the conversation going, and to make sure everybody has a chance to talk.
Yeah, that's a very difficult one, because a lot of guys, well, maybe not a lot, but there seems to be a struggle with giving that silence to allow somebody else to speak, where others feel like they need to fill that up with, and a lot of men are just waiting for that silence to encourage to step forward and start talking. So
Right.
it's important, I think, that men allow for silence. Not like, obviously, if it's a 5 minute gap, then there's a problem. But you know what I'm talking about, where there's others that tend to fill the air, and others are reluctant to step forward and share.
Right. Right. Sometimes if there is kind of a longer silence than what you're used to, sometimes you can look at one of the guys and say, you look like you've got a point that you want to bring up. What do
And
you
that's
think
that
of that situation?
and that's that invitation, right? Like, to draw it out rather than fill.
Right.
So, and that's a science, just, or a gift, to be able to draw out from men, and it's something that you have to practice, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
We
that's
have we have ground rules that we go over the very first one or two meetings to make sure everybody understands what the ground rules are. Everybody gets a chance to talk. Nobody should dominate the conversation. Um, uh, the confidentiality is paramount. Paramount. What's
yeah,
said at the table must stay at the table. All those kind of things
yeah,
we talk about,
it's not
just so
quite the
everybody knows.
seal of confessional, but it's a thing of trust, right? Like,
Absolutely.
you have to create an atmosphere of trust for men to open up
Right.
and walk with them. So
Exactly.
it's so that's so important, men, to make sure that you're creating an atmosphere where a men can come feel like they're okay to open up and share the burdens that they're carrying, right? Because that's what the whole thing is we're helping our brothers, whoever they are, wherever they are, on the walk with Jesus that we're all on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes as a table facilitator, you need to be if it's a brand new group. Sometimes you need to be the first one to kind of open up,
Yep.
and so everybody feels a little bit more comfortable and say, "Oh, wow, you struggle with that too? I thought I was the only one that struggled with that." You know, and that's how you create a brotherhood.
Well, Jimmy D, for our this was over a year ago at our board meeting, where we had new board members and stuff, and go around the table, introduce yourself, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And instead of, oh, I'm Sean Lynn, I'm police officer in Calgary for the last 30, like, men, he said, introduce yourself. I forget what it was. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? And what's the worst day that you've ever had? Because then you're going deep pretty quick, right?
Yep. Yep.
And that's a trust exercise, right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Just because you're not used to that.
Right. Yeah. You used to say, well, uh, I have a career doing X, Y, Z, and I've been married for 42 years, and I have three kids,
Yeah,
next.
and I'm going to Rome. Gonna go see. right? You're
Yeah.
heading there. So my daughter, my daughter just landed yesterday or the day before. It's hard to keep track, but she just sent videos today. She was at Pope Leo's first Wednesday audience. So
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, so she got a picture of him. She was fairly close when he came around in the Pope Mobile, so that was pretty exciting
Oh,
for
yeah.
her. So
Fantastic.
yeah, so what are some of the because I'm sure you've done a lot of different programs over the years.
Mhm.
What are some of the ones that resonated most with the men that that you like?
Yeah. Some of the ones that our guys liked the best were the series called Crossing the Goal, which was an EWTN series,
Yep.
and it had Danny Abramowitz and uh,
Curtis
Curtis
Martin,
Martin, Peter Herbeck,
Peter Herbert, yeah,
and Brian. I can't remember his last name. Um, but the four of them really worked great together as a team, and they it was specifically aimed at Catholic men, and it had uh, certain themes throughout it. For example, the one of the first ones we watched was called Godly Man, and they had several definitions of what a godly man should be. And then the second one we watched was called Our Father, and they broke down the Our Father prayer line by line and explained what it was about and why it was placed there and those kind of things. That was a really really good program. The guys really liked that. They liked Into the Breach. That's a very good program, hard hitting. Um, uh, everybody can relate to it. Good discussion questions. Videos are short; they're like 12 minutes, so there's
yeah,
lots of time for discussion.
yeah.
The other program that all of our guys like, and it's actually their favorite, is The Chosen. Um,
Okay, I've never done that one as a.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
it absolutely brings the Gospels to life, and and it is just a fantastic program. We've had the best table discussions from that series than any other. Um,
Wow. Okay.
and there are times where the videos are maybe 45 minutes or an hour long, so sometimes you have to cut them in half.
Yeah.
But but I think by far that's our guy's favorite program so far. And so we've done season one, two, three, and we just finished up four.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
so we usually do another program in the fall, and then we do The Chosen in the spring.
Okay. Yeah, and there's uh like I've done That Man Is You for a bit, and it was really good, and some
We started
solid
with that.
solid stuff there. Uh Capon's Men, I've did a couple seasons of that. That was like what a story. I
Oh,
actually was blessed to, well, I aim when you're organizing the motorcycle trip, it's easier to go where you want. So we stopped in Wichita, Kansas.
mm.
I wanted to see these statues of St. Joseph at the cathedral. I didn't realize that they had moved Father Capon's remains to the cathedral. So we got both the St. Joseph statue and Father Capon.
Oh, fantastic.
So that was incredible story.
Yeah, our guys
Uh,
really enjoyed that program as well. And while we were doing it, we happened to have uh, one of our vicar was an army chaplain,
oh wow, okay,
and so he came and talked to us about his role, and we found out that Father Capon was on his prayer card when he was ordained.
wow,
Even though he's not a saint yet, but I have no doubt he will be. I mean, what he did for those men and the miracles that occurred um, were just
Well, and
incredible. So,
and what we're talking about is heroic men, right? Like we're and that's where we one of the other series that we did, we and I forget exactly what it was, but it was the Divine Mercy series with Father Gately,
okay.
that the men really enjoyed that. One of the guys took it home to show the family because the daughter-in-law was Polish, and just the the heroism of this mercy uh acted out through St. John Paul,
Mhm.
St. Maximilian Kolbe. uh yeah, just inspiring. And there's many others.
We've
We've
done
got
several of the Bishop Barron programs.
okay.
We did Catholicism series. We did Pivotal Players.
Yep, we did
Um,
that one too. That was very good. Yeah.
yeah, and we did his one on the Mass, which is fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
And yeah, and we've done some of the Jeff Cavins stuff through Ascension.
Hmm.
And yeah, there's no shortage of programming out there. And we've got at Heroic Men, we've got the new Father Larry series, Be a Man, which is fantastic. I pre-watched it, but the feedback, because I've been out helping men's conferences or visiting grandkids in Idaho, and so I've missed the 2 weeks that they've done it. But the feedback's been phenomenal from the guys on that one. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend Father Larry's Be a Man. And there's other ones that I'm breaking up uh one of the talks, or two of the talks from our conference this year, and where Father Deacon Andrew Bennett, who's been a guest on the Heroic Hotline, spoke of these heroic saints from our time,
Mhm.
which is I'm looking forward to see how they will resonate with the men once we get them up and going.
Hmm. Another one
So
we did that the guys really liked is the Wild Goose with
yes,
Father Dave Pivanka. That's quite good.
yeah, we started doing that one. Had to stop to do Be a Man because you got to support Father Larry and Heroic Men when you work for them, right? So it's but we'll definitely go back to that one because it is so good. And I know for myself that's an area that I've I've struggled, is the whole relationship with the Holy Spirit. So it's because
Plus,
we
he's a
thought it was
hometown boy. He's Canadian. He's from Toronto.
yeah, Toronto, I don't know. But yeah, no, it's something that's and there's so much out there now that is available for men. And and it's not about necessarily the content, it's about the building of brotherhood, right? that's
Yeah,
what we're that's what we're there for. The content does help, build the relationships and help men go deeper,
right.
right?
It's a spark for conversations at the table, and that then lead to true brotherhood. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had situations where we had a video, and uh, and we had the discussion questions up on the screen, and one of the guys said, "Well, I don't mean to hijack the conversation, but um, I just had this situation come up," and that's what we talk about.
Yep.
We forget the discussion questions and help our brother, and
Well,
and that happens, throughout the year.
or you get somebody that, like, it's happened more than once to us, where the AV equipment just doesn't want to work for us,
Mhm.
And so we end up having these great conversations. And I remember one year, and it was Providence, but we had a couple of the younger guys that had just come into the church. So I had asked the men about their Easter experience, and for these men, it was an opportunity for them to talk about this excitement about being new Catholics, where they can't really talk about it anywhere else because maybe their family and friends aren't as excited about them becoming Catholic,
Mhm.
and just having a safe place to unpack and share the excitement and joy of what they just went through. It That one spoke volumes to me. Like it once again, there was no program because we couldn't get it working, so it just giving that space and time for these guys to share was very powerful.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you do any other, so we've talked about programming and small men's groups. Is there any other activities that your men's groups do in the Austin diocese?
Some groups have a service day
Okay.
where they will, maybe once a month or once a quarter, they'll do some service for the parish. Um, Other than that, and some groups decide they want to do a Bible study instead of a video program. Um, there are some groups for their content. They they in their small groups they just say, um, what is a God moment that you had in the last week, and what is something we can pray for you about, and that's what they
and
do.
and that's
And
something that I've incorporated in our men's group is that, what can I pray for
Mhm,
you? Like that's how we end every session, is just, is there any prayer requests? And just
we do too.
and
Yep.
it gives that opportunity for men to understand, even though they might not be overly prayerful, but just knowing that they got a brother that's praying for them and they can share some of the burdens that they're carrying
Right.
too.
Right.
And that's where I'm on the I'm the chair for our parish renewal committee, and just looking at the whole picture, that no man left behind, that heroic men has tried to encourage. So looking at ways to maybe do once a month thing just for all men, whether it's this month we're going to do a barbecue and beer, this month we're going to do a prayer night, this month we'll do, like you say, a service uh job for the community, or the so just fleshing that out. I know the Knights are trying to encourage that through the a core program, they call it.
Mhm.
But and that's where we're all working together in the kingdom, uh and that's what heroic men's all about, is supporting that network of men to build ministry to men across North America and beyond. And I want, what you're doing there in Austin is extremely exciting, and a great model for other dioceses to look at.
Yeah, and just to let you know, I did not create the model. The credit
Yeah.
goes to Robert Tunmeyer and Bill Moyer and Mike Kelly and several others who started the Central Texas Fellowship of Catholic Men back in 2006. Um, I didn't join until 2016. I helped start our men's group in 2009, but I didn't join the fellowship until 2016. So I don't I should not get credit for any of this structure. This was all done before I started. So it's really Robert Tunmeyer and Bill Moyer and others' vision that I'm just helping to keep going.
Yeah, and they've brought that vision to heroic men, and now we're trying to do what you guys did there, and to infinity and beyond, as Buzz Lightyear would
There
say.
you go. There you
And
go.
so, Jim, thank you so much. If somebody wants to learn more about the Central Texas Fellowship Organization of Fellowship,
Central Texas Fellowship of Catholic Men.
okay, there you go. Yes, yes. The
CM.
CTFCM. Yes, I get some emails. So how do they find out more about your organization?
Well, they're welcome to contact me. Um, and we are more than happy to share uh, our our uh, organizational book that has our 501c3 um, stuff in it and how we're organized and all that kind of stuff. We're more than happy to share any of that stuff, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Um, and
And I know you've shared or a lot of that stuff's with heroic men as well, so they can contact us as well if they're interested in the model. So
yeah, I'd be more than happy to say what my email address and my cell phone number are if that's appropriate. And
we'll see if we can put them in the comments, and then
okay,
but I want to thank you for your continued service to Catholic men and your example of what building the kingdom for God is. We are so excited to see the growth of ministry to men, not only in your diocese, but so many dioceses across North America, and being a model that people can follow is extremely helpful, because like you say, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to find the best practices and share them with whoever is interested in growing ministry to men in their area. So
absolutely.
once again, Jim, thanks, and please check out other shows on heroicmen.org, or join us on Heroic Men or the Heroic Brotherhood, and share your thoughts on this program, and give us some idea what you'd like to hear about in the future, because we want to create this program to answer the questions for you men and what you need to grow ministry to men in your area. Have a great day, and God bless you.
God bless, Sean.